OFPG Voices is brought to you by the following sponsors. Board and Dice designs and publishes family and strategy board games. Two of their most recent releases are Talatum and Terracotta Army. They have recently launched their ally program to lend support to underrepresented voices in the hobby. World Series of Board Gaming in Las Vegas, September 24th to the 28th. It has 16 different games to compete in, an open gaming library, and a grand prize of $25,000. So there's something for you if you're a casual gamer or a competitive one. For tickets, check out WSBGVegas.com. Use referral code OFPG23 for a $40 discount off the Stay and Play or Quadruple Ring event packages. Hi everybody, I'm Starla.
I'm Mick.
And we are
Our Family Plays Games. Voices, yeah.
And welcome back to another episode.
Yes.
Yes, OFPG Voices.
Oh yeah, these beautiful voices. I love hearing them every time. Every time.
Me too. Now you know this is the month of August.
Yes.
Starla month.
Yes, it's Starla month. Yes, it is.
And we're quickly approaching the celebration called Starla Day.
Yes, we
which
are.
is August 26th.
Yes, we're closing in on that day.
A wonderful day.
A wonderful day.
But you know, growing up my entire life,
yes,
it was always back to school.
Back to school.
During my month.
Now, hold up now. Hold up. Going back to school used to be in September.
No, August.
Well, if I remember correctly, it was September. Then it kind of inched up to August now.
Well, I remember always going back in August, always around my birthday. We're going back to school.
Well, see, it was around my birthday because my birthday family is September 5th.
Yes.
And it was always messing around my birthday, around Labor Day and stuff.
Well, you know, I'm at the end of the month, the 26th, so it's always around it back to school. So we decided to focus on back to school because that's usually what happens.
That's what's going on right now.
Yes.
That's good because Grant going back to college and all this stuff.
Parents have kept their kids in school.
We see them scrambling around in the stores trying to get stuff. Yeah, we see it.
So we've got 3 awesome contributors this week.
Yes.
And they're going to talk about back to school or back to school related educational games.
Yes.
And we're going to kick it off. All right, so first we have Matthew Makak from Room 51. And he's going to discuss his top 3 games for back to school.
Okay. Okay.
And then right after that, we're going to have Amanda Panda.
With
her Panda Talks.
Yes.
And she's talking with Doug and Michael from Game Schoolers Podcast.
Okay, this is going to be interesting. Okay.
And last but not least, we've got Maurice Andrews Jr.
Yeah.
And he's going to share one of his favorite games that talks about back to school or about educational values.
Okay. All right. Let's do this then.
Let's do it.
But first, family, let's hear from Starla in her Good Human segment.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another segment of Good Humans. This week, I want to focus on the subject of we all do better when we all do better. Now, I saw this quote on a graphic on Facebook, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I had to share it with you. I researched this quote and found out that it's an aphorism coined by Senator Paul Wellstone in a 1999 speech to the Sheet Metal Workers Union. The underlying message was that if we stick together, if we support each other, we're stronger and we can make positive changes. And that's truly what being a good human is all about. Caring about yourself and others, saying and doing those things that you know will help make life better, not just for you, but for those around you. Understanding that we can reach our goals and dreams without denying or impeding someone else their goals and dreams. So when we do better, or should I say when we all do better, we all will do better. And as we always say here at OFPG Voices, our goal is to make this world a better place, one board gamer at a time.
What is up? My name is Matthew Makak from Room 51, and this is Non-Binary Gaming, where I talk about some sort of hybrid game. So what I mean by that is it takes Eurogame mechanisms and thematic mechanisms into one beautiful board game. Now, we are continuing on with our back to school segment here on Voices for Our Family Plays Games. So my top 3 games for back to school might be a little crazy. We're still staying within the hybrid board games that I mentioned here. And we're going to start off, this is in no particular order, by the way. We're going to start off with Ark Nova. I don't know, you can't even see me. This game's big. But Ark Nova. So the reason I picked this one was because in terms of learning, like it tells you a lot of things about animals and like what habitats they need, and it gives you on the cards themselves, it gives you like a little bit of flavor text that tells you a little bit about the animal, and I think that's really cool. And it's all about like building out your zoo. So there's a lot of spatial recognition that you're learning as you're playing the game, because you're placing these tiles all along your little zoo, I guess. There's also tableau building, so there's, you know, some memory involved in terms of like remembering like, oh yeah, okay, I get this ability that goes off because of this that I did and all that stuff. So being able to keep things in your mind, I think that all goes into, you know, learning and just sharpening the mind. The next game on my list here is Suburbia. This is a little bit of an older version. They just came out with a new version, even though I just bought this one. But that's okay. Not salty. Anyway, Suburbia I think is a great one because it teaches you a little bit about the way suburbs kind of work in a way, because everything in this game really makes sense when you're placing out your the tiles that you've drafted, that you've bought. Well, that's another thing. So you're buying things. So resource management, right? Where you're thinking like, okay, how can I make a profit? And that's something that's really great to learn if you're somebody who wants to go into like maybe the corporate world, or you want to start your own business, or whatever it might be. So thinking about profit, but then also thinking about, okay, where can I place things to get the most profit? So again, there's some spatial awareness, and also it plays with the memory in terms of like, okay, since I did this thing goes off because of this, and now also your restaurant over there, it decreases in, you know, fandom or whatever, because, well, I've built a restaurant now, which is very cool. It really interacts, and it shows how things interact economically, and again, like how suburbs work, like how they're built out. Like, you know, people don't want to live near factories, go figure. But factories also give you a lot of profit. So, you know, and it's not environmentally friendly usually. So now you have to think about all these sort of things. So I think that's really cool. I think it's a cool thing to learn about. So Suburbia is my next pick. My final pick, and again, in no particular order, is Twilight Struggle. This teaches you about the Cold War. And this is just such a fantastic game. And you're playing all these sort of cards, and they have actual events that happened during the Cold War, which is great. And it tells you a little bit about it on the cards themselves. And it really plays out in a way, like it shows you about like the race to the moon, essentially, and it teaches you about like the DEF CON, the threat of that, and then just which countries and continents were involved in this, and how it was really a lot about like influencing and how to influence countries and things to be on your side. And yeah, it just gives a lot of information about the Cold War, which I think, you know, if you're living in the US, it's something you should know about, because, I mean, it was super influential for the way society is today. Not only for ourselves, but for, like, the world at large. And I think a lot of times we kind of forget that the Cold War wasn't just about, like, 2 countries. It was about, like, a bunch, right? Like, it was sort of like a worldwide influencer. So I think that's a great one to bring to the table when it is back to school week, which I'll be honest, I hated back to school week when I was going to school. So, but games might make it a little bit more fun. And these games in particular, I think I love because it doesn't feel like you're learning, but you are. And that is awesome. That is always cool. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all next time on Our Voices. Thank you to Our Family Plays Games for letting me be here. My name is Matthew Makak from Room 51. I'll catch you next time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Panda Talks. Today, I, Amanda Panda, will be talking with Doug and Michael from Game Schooler Podcast. Hello, Doug and Michael. How are you both doing?
How you doing?
Fantastic.
We're so happy to be here.
We just all got back from Gen Con, where we met at an AEG meeting, and it was so great to get to know new people and find new awesome podcasts like this one. So all the links to their podcast and their website will be down below in the description, so please check it out. Doug, why don't you say a little bit something, introduce yourself, and tell people about you?
Sure. My name is Doug, and I am, I've been gaming for the last 12 or 13 years, and love playing games, love the community that develops around games, and we came up with this idea of doing a podcast. Michael is a doctor of education, and I'm just a really avid game player, and we wanted to highlight that the games that are being played now in the modern tabletop games are educational within their own right. And you don't need any special type of tools or equipment or things. Like the popular games, those hobby games are just as effective of teaching what we call the skills that in a textbook are kind of hard to learn, right? It's hard to teach risk management and resource management, time management, all of those management skills out of a textbook. So what a great way to do that when you can have kids and families in a safe environment to take risks and take chances and not fall on their butt.
Absolutely. What about you, Michael?
Well, I'm a former teacher and middle school principal, and I also coach high school basketball. So I am an enthusiastic person that loves games, and I love the engagement level that the modern tabletop board games bring to people of all ages. We both have 3 kiddos and play games with our kids often. I also run a middle school after school board game club. That's been a lot of fun, and just excited to be here and talk games with your audience. I think what you'll hear from us, we talk a lot about the skill building opportunities that games provide. And so, yes, there are lots of subjects, but there's also skills. And I think you'll hear that come out just in the way that we talk. What Doug did not give credit to himself, though, behind him in that little cabinet, every single Marvel United mini is painted. Doug is also a painter of minifigures. He doesn't like to talk about it often because he's humble, but we both also love being in the hobby. So it was great to meet you at Gen Con, and we're excited to be here today.
That's so awesome. Today we're going to be talking about games that are fun but also have an educational value. Now, according to you both, almost every game probably has some sort of educational value, some sort of skill to teach. But we've limited ourselves. We were almost. We have limited ourselves, and we will be talking about games from each of our collections. Doug, what's your game?
And they do something really good that I like, which is the history and the education is in the game, but it doesn't beat you over the head with it. So it's there if you want to look at it, and when you have kids that are, in between turns, they can flip over a card and read about it. So from Underdog Games, hold on, let me get it. And that is Trekking Through History. This is a fast game. It plays quickly. The insert and the production value is awesome. So it's another good thing about educational or games that are educational is having a fast setup time. So how quickly can I get it out of the box and onto the table before my kids get bored or people get bored with it? This game's got a great insert that it sets up, and you are basically deciding how many or how far you want to move through time, how many time units you want to move in order to pick up a card and add it to your timeline as you're traveling through history. But what it does really well is that every historical card that's associated with a date and some sort of event or person, thing like that, on the back of the card has, a brief biography or description of what that event was. And so it's amazing when you play this with kids and you're having fun playing the game, and not that there's a ton of downtime, but you see kids flipping it over and learning a little bit more about that event. And I think that's one of the great things that, if you want to get into a hardcore gaming session and just, hunker down and play games, you can do that, and you don't have to flip over the cards at all. It plays awesome. But whether while you're setting up or taking it down and people are looking at cards, and quite frankly, if somebody was in a classroom and they just wanted to take the cards out of the box and read the back to their students, it's completely viable in that realm. So that's why that one from Underdog Games is on my list. Trekking through history.
For my game, I worked in the BIPOC lounge at Gen Con this year for the Rose Gauntlet Foundation. It's a charitable organization. Isaac and Lindsay first started Rose Gauntlet through this game, Keystone North America, and this is a gorgeous game. I backed the deluxe version on Kickstarter. It has all these cards with different animals and plants on it, and then it shows you the different ecosystems, like whether they like cold or they like wetlands or they like deserts, and then it has different like seasons and stuff. And it's more of a drafting puzzle game, but through the cards you want to put the animals so that they're in the ecosystem that goes with them, right? So you want to put a Arctic fox in the winter landscape, and then you want to put someone else that will match that. So it's beautiful, but at the end you get to see how the different ecosystems interact, how different animals can cross different places, how different they even talk about keystone species that are very important to the health of the ecosystem, and endangered species as well. And it's really cool how at the end you get to see how they interact on your board, how you don't really want them to disconnect, and you can see how the plant animal needs to eat the plant, and different animals grow from those types of things along that way. And it's beautiful, and I feel like it definitely will get the kiddos in and anyone who loves animals in, because you're just drawn in by the art, and then you can start a conversation on why this fox cannot live in that place, or how they interact with each other. So that is Keystone North America from Rose Gauntlet Games.
Well, I love the idea of games that are able to implement that level of where the theme matches what you're doing in the game, and that you're being rewarded and getting points like that. I think that's so cool, especially when it's done well.
Awesome. And Michael, what's your game?
Since I didn't have the first overall pick, and all my Underdog games were taken off the board, but this is one that we absolutely love, and that's Point Salad. From AEG and the design team of Molly Johnson, Robert Melvin, and Sean Stankiewicz. And in Point Salad, you're drafting cards, and you're building a tableau, and then the cards can be flipped into scoring cards. So cards are two-sided. There's a vegetable on one side, and then there's a scoring combination on the other side. And this is a game that we have taught at local game stores, and we've really pushed out to families, and it's one of those things where I think it kind of went under the radar for a while. People will be like, oh, I remember seeing this at Gen Con when it first came out. And when groups sit down to play, it's fun. And you can have those conversations afterward about vegetables. And I always make fun of Doug, because this is the only way that Doug gets his vegetables, is by playing Point Salad. But it's 2 to 6 players. It's 15 to 30 minutes. It is not 14 plus. It's about 8 years old and up. People can play.
The other thing about Point Salad is one of those games that you can teach in like 30 seconds, and people start playing it. And then within 2 minutes, everybody's like, I got this, and I'm coming, and you can just see that switch happen, which is really cool in a game that sucks people in, and they're like, I need carrots now, and then they're going like crazy to get whatever vegetables they need.
Sorry, Doug.
No, go ahead.
Scoring card is unique. So that's another thing that you can just teach the basics. And then when you see that decision point where somebody is thinking, Well, if you want to score that, you better take that card because it's never going to come around again. That design team does such a brilliant job with their card
So
games.
there you go. Thank you everyone for watching. I am Amanda Panda. You can find me everyone under Panda Angel. If you like or want to watch any live teaching playthroughs, you can find me on Twitch. I will have my VODs on YouTube as well of some of these games that we've talked about. I definitely need to go look through the trekking series a little bit more. I've only played one of them and it was a lot of fun, so I'll have to check out the other ones. And if you want to hear more thoughts about games from Doug and Michael, please go check out their podcast, Game Schooler Podcast. All of our links will be below in the description. Thank you everyone for watching and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Back again on OFPG Voices, and today I was tasked with presenting a game that fits that back to school feel, and today I am presenting a Literati. I really like this game. It is like a stressful version of Scrabble. It is a real-time game where you are given these books that you have to try to bind. So they have their requirements where you have to have words that equal up to 8 letters, at least 8 letters, and there has to be 3 of the letters that have this suite, because each of the different letters in the game, as you can see here, this I has a heart, and there's 4 different suites, and the red ones, they fit a particular theme. So this one is money and finance terms. There are cards that are specific to sports terms, and the list goes on. And so for this one, you can try to spell out things like cash, pesos, dollar, lean, invest, but as long as it fits the requirements that's there, and it has eight letters, so you don't have to spell out 8-letter words. It's just that all the words that you are trying to use to bind this book together have to equal at least 8, so you can use cash and lean or invest in cash, and either of those combinations will work as long as they have 3 of the purple in the suite. And there's also the blue books, which are they're kind of like a play on the words. So you have just like the other one, whereas you're trying to get 8 and it start and end with the same letter, which makes it a little tougher compared to just trying to think of money terms, right? It's a little bit more stressful. So the way that the game works out is you're giving 5 letters to start. There's 3 in the library, which is kind of like a pool of letters that anybody at the table can pull from. And then at the start of the round, you're given 10, or if you're playing by yourself, you're given 10 letters. If you're playing with other people, then it's 7. And then from there, you flip over your hourglass, and then whenever that hourglass is finished, then that's when you stop, which is roughly about 3 minutes. I normally use my phone because it's a lot easier to tell when the time is actually up and to kind of keep the integrity of the game. And once you're done, depending on the amount of letters that you've used, if you used all of your letters, then that's probably the best way to go, because you don't want to have leftover letters, because then you start getting into the burn territory, and that's if you get more than 3 in the game, then you lose. And if you up the difficulty, of course, that number goes down on how many you can burn. And once you get 2 of the books, so you have to do a red book and a blue book, you get to pick a book of your choosing, or I guess the color, depending on the stack, and you have to do the final chapter, and everybody at the table have to do the same one and get it all completed, and it just rinse and repeat from there. And at the end of the round, you get to flip over a card that represents one of the Literati members, and they do some nasty things at the table to make it a little tougher for you. So you start the game where you get some letters, and then you get a book to be able to spell out some words to be able to fit whatever the requirements are on that book. And then at the end of that 3 minutes, you check to see if you are able to bind the books. If you're not, that's fine. Sometimes you want to just survive the round, so that you're not burning books and burning letters and losing the game. And once you made that check, then you flip over a Literati card, do whatever terrible things that are supposed to happen to you, draw up another 7 letters, and then rinse and repeat, and you keep going until you either win or the Literati members win. But this was a super fun game. I think the 3-minute timer is the perfect amount. It allows you to be able to kind of sit back and think a little bit before you plan out your turn, and then you'll have enough time to be able to finish. But if you have any questions for me, let me know. I really enjoyed this game. It's super cool, super fun. It's a game that really tests you both on spelling under duress, as well as kind of trivia. I really enjoyed it. But let me know if you played this game, what you think about it, and if you have any questions, I'll check back on the video just to see who has some questions and come and answer them. Well, thank you for your time. Once again, this is Maurice, and have a wonderful day.
All right,
Yes.
another great episode.
Hey, let me tell you, Matthew, he came with some really cool games.
He did.
Arc Nova, and you know you love Suburbia.
I do.
You love some Suburbia.
And they are educational.
Yeah, they are.
Yes.
They are. They do teach you some things,
They do.
especially Arc Nova and Suburbia, and also Twilight Struggle.
Yeah.
I haven't played Twilight Struggle, but I definitely see the educational value.
I mean, he went all over with different ways
Yeah.
you can learn things from board games, and I
Yes.
think that's great.
And Panda, come on, she does her thing. Her interviewing, boy.
Yes.
She be doing her interview, and I tell you, I love it. I love it.
And I mean, they talked about some great games too.
Yeah.
You know, Trekking the World and Keystone North America and Point Salad.
Yes.
You don't think about the educational value of board games sometimes, but it's there.
Yeah, it's not just
It's
for
there.
just play.
It's not for play.
It has
all
a
the time.
little bit of education in
You
every
learn
game we
things.
play.
Yes. And last but not least, Maurice came up with Literati.
Yeah, Literati.
Literati.
Yes, Literati. Yes, it's a game that's been out there.
I have never played it. I never heard of it. I was so
I've heard
fascinated.
of it. Yes, I've heard of
Literati.
it. And we got to check it out. We definitely got
Yeah.
to check it out.
Yes, and of course we have some awesome sponsors.
Yes, love 'em,
Board
love 'em.
and Dice.
Yes.
And the World Series of Board Gaming.
We will be there in September. Yes.
So that's it for this episode of Voices.
Now, Starla, what about our merch? What up?
You know,
Tell
if
me.
you're looking for a shirt for OFPG Voices
Yes.
or Our Family Plays Games,
Yes.
be sure to check us out on Spring.
Yes, our next episode is September 6th, 2023. But where can they find us? OFPG Voices and OFPG. While we're doing this Kickstarter, we need your support.
We need your support.
We need support.
We got
But
a
where
Kickstarter.
can they find us, Starla?
Well, if you're looking for Our Family Plays Games or OFPG Voices,
Yes.
you can find us on Facebook, Instagram,
Yes.
Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok.
TikTok. Yeah. But other than that, thank you so much for coming and checking us out. Checking out these beautiful voices and support our sponsors so we can keep growing this. But other than that, family, keep coming with your comments, your questions, and everything. We love hearing from you. But the one thing we want you to always know, we love you.
Bye
now.
everybody.